law of thriving. And what that means is every biological being, every living thing, whether it be a plant, an animal, an insect, or a human being, is all biologically wired to thrive. Why do I want that? You only want it for one reason. You want it because you think by getting it, you're going to be happy. Every goal is the same, is to be happy. Everything we think we want is just to be happy. That is our driving force, because it's our purpose is to be happy, because that's when we're at our best. So I thought, well, this is interesting. So my purpose here, biologically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, is to feel the best that I can, to be the best version of myself that I can be. And that means being happy.
To that moment of active pause where we just take a moment to say, where am I? Who am I? What do I want? And moments of getting in touch with what is vibrant and alive and connected to all that is vibrant and alive in the universe.
Part of my mission is to activate people to find their divinity so they can be solid in what they know is love for them and define it for themselves, because it's different for everybody. And that's the scary thing, because you got to do the soul searching to find what it means to you.
Each one of us has our own relationship to God, and we can call divinity whatever we want. I don't think divinity really cares. Divinity is not egotistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's also important that we use the word God.
Your body really wants you to thrive, it doesn't want you to suffer. And once you start giving it what it really needs to thrive, it will adjust, and your cravings change. So don't be afraid to try new things. And even just taking like a week or two off of sugar, a little bit longer is probably, the longer the better. But when you go back to it, I mean, you can eat like a grape. And you're like, oh my goodness.
I think that the two biggest misconceptions about love is, one, that it's earnable, that we do something to get love. And the other one is that love is hard or painful. And I think both of these misbeliefs keep people looping in cycles in their relationships that are actually more limiting than expansive.
So it's a paradigm shift.
Distinction quality between me, whoever else is going through this, already went through it, or is finna go through it, is that you're not gonna quit.
One of the strongest feelings of the near-death experience is a sense of peace. Like it is the most peaceful moment I've ever had in my life. It was just, and I was just so at peace and so ready. I was just like, yes, like it's time to go home. And my guide stepped in, and they were on horses, and they're like, this is what you need to do. You're not coming home. This is what you need to do. And they put me back in.
I think it's up to 25% of breast cancer cases are attributed to alcohol consumption. So it's kind of scary. And I don't think people realize that. And part of it is because alcohol increases estrogen, and it also causes, it sort of ties up your liver in your detoxification pathways. So, if your body is focused on detoxifying the alcohol in your system, it can't detoxify all the other endocrine disrupting chemicals and toxins.
Your mind can only access the past, and it can only protect you. If you want to live a powerful spiritual life, you must learn how to come to the physical moment with your heart, to come from a place of love for the benefit of all involved, regardless of the outcome.
For people to hear and know that we really, truly are a whole humanity here, loving life, being life, and part of nature, part of the flow. And it is magical. And
the vision that came to my head as you were talking was, I don't know if you have buffets over in London.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
It's like you said, Saint Germain always goes, yeah, you gotta tease, life is like a buffet. You gotta try all these different dishes, and some may not agree with you. So you gotta sweat the chilies, right? And take responsibility. And once you've sweat the chilies and everything's out, you'll feel so much more lighter and enlightened within yourself. You can breathe again, because you've honored that experience. You've embraced
said to me, you really don't live in your body. And I didn't understand what that meant at that time. I just kind of was like, yeah, whatever. And then started to sort of understand. And when I began my Pilates rehabilitation, I understood it because it brings you into your body. And then I had to face the fears and the anxiety and the flight. And that's when all emotions came out. And it's such an incredible blessing at that moment and has changed my life ever since.
Meditation, the spiritual energy flowed in through the crown of my head, filled my body. Then all of a sudden, I was just enveloped in unconditional love. It was like I was a deep sea diver suspended in the ocean. And I was just totally enveloped in unconditional love. And I didn't care what aches and pains my body had. I didn't care what illnesses I had. I didn't care what anybody had done to me in the past. I didn't care about anything. I felt totally supported, non-judged, fully loved. And
years ago, I started putting my hand up in the air like this, my left hand, when I was working away, trying to save the file to just the right place. And it helped me focus. Like I could just come right here and not be distracted by anything around me if I did that. And one of my friends said, "Oh, you're tapping into a higher vibration." I said, "Okay, whatever you say."
I realize that the pure positions of the planets, that the positions of the planets in our natal chart, what we call the dignity, that your Venus is in a happy sign or an unhappy sign for Venus. That to me is the most important thing, because when we have a planet in a strong placement, then those particular issues don't affect us. And when we have in a weak position, then that is where life's work is.
For instance, if we're a head type, we're going to think through our heads all the time. We're heart, we're going to go into the heart. We're going to be emotional. Our body, we're going to be, maybe our body is like resisting something, So, but we're all type of, we're some heart, some body, and some mind, or vice versa. We just tend to go to one more than the other.
Harmony is so important, and we're just a little microcosm of everything that's going on around us, right? Like we're in it just as much as anything else. I don't think anything's an accident.
I think these were the things that I needed to go through, because that was my path to get to where I am and where I'm still going, right? Like I still have a long way to go. And so I'm very aware at this point that there's something special either on my side or on my back or right next to me. It doesn't matter. Like,
and every time we kind of click off on that awareness that I'm aware, it's like somehow the universe resounds like, yes, yes, yes. And then that veil continuously seems to fall away as we respond more and more to the gifts of the universe.
So it's just like this unlearning of things that you've used to cope or to make life less scary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But once you face, like your quote about the doubt, once you face the doubt, am I lovable?
Right.
And then you're like, well, I am lovable, and I'm gonna show up in my best self, because that's what I'm here to do. And when I play small, I'm not being true to myself. The guilt and the things that happened, is just it was the transition you needed to take. And 6 is a number pregnant with possibilities. The 6 years you were growing and you were manifesting what you needed to do to have your metamorphosis,
without really even knowing it.
You don't, you can only look back and say, oh yeah, that's 6, that's the number.
Yeah.
And these are, if we saw all the signs, then we wouldn't really have an adventure anymore, right? We would just be following a script. You get a premonition or a feeling, you could lessen the impact. Like you know, I look at it as the same way as astrology. You know, like something might be in your house that there's going to be a traumatic event. It could be falling down the stairs, it could be stubbing your toe. But if you live in high awareness and for the highest good and keep your frequency, and like you said, avoid opioids or alcohol, because they do make your lessons harder, because it's harder to get to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's more density in your spirit. So the message is going to be delivered with more of a blow because your senses are dull.
Some of the reason that people don't want to be reflective is they're afraid what they're going to find when they reflect, or they're going to uncover they're not doing what they love, or they're fearful for some reason. And my message is that's all good news. You don't have to upend your life, but if you don't examine it now and again, there's no way to uncover the riches.
And then it's just that knowingness that you're supported, that it's all gonna pan out, or you're gonna have the clarity once you get through the storm. And that's a huge message, and it's hard to see, but I can relate. And you know, if there's any kind of doubt that anyone's not supposed to be here, you just go back to, I'm breathing, I'm supported, and just ask those angels to say, angels, show me the highest good, show me what I'm supposed to learn from this, because you're right, there's always a lesson, there's always a inner calling that you can respond to.
Yeah, our problems are really just life's callings or life's ways of asking us to please grow. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you this thing, and I want you to take it, and I want you to make something good out of it, because if you could do that, you'll become the next version of yourself
you need, or what your end goal is. I just want to love you more. Tell me how to do that. I mean, wouldn't that transform the world?
Oh my gosh, that would so much transform the world, Julie. And how can we love another more until we love ourselves? Love or give compassion or help another until our wounds have been
When you're
healed.
trying to get from that other person to fill whatever those broken holes are in your body, you're headed in the wrong place. And that creates shame because I can't do that for you. It creates blame because I want you to do that for me. And then it creates justification of, why can't you do that for me? Because that's what I expected from you. And so setting up all of those things just leads you down that dysfunction path. So we're back again to values, authenticity, and knowing who you are. It's just an amazing way to go in this circle.
Yeah. And, be able to laugh at yourself, because that's when you can break through, when you can stop taking it so seriously and be like, I just did that again, didn't
Understanding that we are, as you know, Julie, and I'm sure your audience as well, are divine beings, which means we have a masculine aspect and a feminine aspect. So if you are a man and a woman and you are getting into, in this actually, it doesn't even matter if you're straight or gay even, right? It's masculine predominant and feminine predominant. You're going to link up together, and you're essentially linking up to fill a hole that the other one is missing.
I had to stop looking at myself as a victim of my circumstance, which, anyone would say, yeah, you were a victim in that. However, when you're in that energy, you've given your power away. You have no ability. If you're saying, well, I'm a victim here, that means that like some other external force has power over you. And I thought, that can't be. I need to take my power back. And I said, okay, Danielle, like new rules have been put on this game of life for you, and look at it as a game and try and figure out, what you can do within these new rules that's going to bring you joy.
Keep your curiosity going, and you can live in magic.
Absolutely. There is magic in the world. And especially in some of the darker days we've had of late, it's good to know that there's more to the world than what we are physically experiencing. It's very uplifting and very hopeful.
I had to figure things out, right? Because life is about choices. You can either be, the victor or the victim, or, I like to say that you can either be defined by your circumstances or you can define it for yourself.
Prioritize yourself
is the first step in really starting to learn more about yourself in the whispers, so that you have a better indicator of sort of where to take the work that you're doing. Because so many of us suppress that because we are not in the present moment and we're so busy delivering for others that we forget about our work here now.
And this is so timely. I mean, because we have to honor space. And the space is where our soul can talk to us when we get time away. That space is where God, the quiet is when God can come through. God lives in the space between.
He said, you knew angels from the Bible, you knew the guardian angels, and you knew the archangels. So that was a safe symbol for you to come with me. And we both went up to another level, plane, whatever you want to call it. And I could look down and see my body, my corpse in the ditch.
I'm like, oh my God, just no, it's a much bigger process than that. Everyone wants that quick fix. It's not a quick fix, but it is this beautiful way of unlayering everything that you are, learning how to love it and accept it as part of you as a whole. And when we can love even those unresourceful bits, even those traumatized bits, even those bits that we have previously suppressed and repressed and pushed away, we become
I always knew I had a guardian angel, because I grew up with that too, of like, God's given you a guardian angel that will watch over you. And there's this psalm that says, lest you dash your foot on a stone, like he gives his angel charge over you to protect you, to even smooth out your path, before you. And so I've personally been led and guided by angels my whole life, whether I knew it or not.
So that's a liberation. To know
That's a
that
liberation.
you
Really, if you knew who you were, you would understand that you're perfect. There's no way you can improve upon yourself. So this isn't about improving upon the self. This is about realizing who you are, not improving.
You're
The only
accepting
reason,
and surrendering to the feeling instead of judging or worrying about how it projects,
right.
And it takes a lot of work to get there. Believe me, I know, because you have to be like, I'm perfect. I am perfect in every cell of my body. Everything I feel is valid. Everything I feel is important. And it's a different paradigm to come at yourself with that kind of acceptance and be like, I'm here for you. I love you. What's going on?
Right, exactly. And saying that to yourself, I love myself. What's going
If we
on?
understood the power that our heart presence emits continually, I think that we'd live a lot more responsibly with, anything that we expose ourselves to, any thoughts that we have, like the whole thing, any, actions. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So when we clean up our mind and start to have our mind let go of some of the self-sabotaging thoughts it's been holding since we were kids.
Seeing humans as humans, not as a race, as a gender, or sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
or political things. You see human as human, and you say, that's my family. If I like it, I don't have to hug it. I don't have to go out with it. It's just, that's it. And they have a, and see, I always say to me, they have a purpose that I don't know, because I don't have the wisdom of nature. And so I don't know that.
The high is actually our natural state. But because we're in these systems, in this matrix, in this society, that it has suppressed all that natural high. So that's what we're all searching for. Once you find that high, it's like, oh, this is who we are. This is the awakening. This is grace. Now I can come from this place in my alignment to my source and now let it manifest outward to create the life that I want, my desired life.
It's like a tea time with
is
Moira.
the love vibration or the love harmonic or the love expression. I firmly believe what I've tapped into is God's light. This is not electricity. I don't believe the light of God is an electron force field, a movement of electrons. No. I believe the light of God is a light that's so strong that it's non-physical. God is non-physical spirit, and God can light up the room, including a light bulb. That's what I've tapped into. So this is the new science of scatter energy, and we have to learn this. This is not electricity. So what we've learned in the classroom with electromagnetic theory, that's wonderful. And I don't disparage that. This is a new science.
Coming from a sort of masculine position here, I got the inner voice that says, what am I going to do about it? I want joy. I want joy in my life. And sometimes you just don't know. You don't know what that means or what that exactly entails, or your scope is limited due to the context that you're in. There's no way to
that
be seen.
Just starting or just kind of making those little tiny switches can make a huge impact in your overall financial picture for the better.
I love that. I write about that in my book. It's like, look at what you own, and if you're not enjoying it, like if you're working to buy that thing, but you're not able to enjoy it, then maybe that's not the thing for you. Like, really look at it. So, are the things owning you, or do you own the things?
Exactly.
And that's how you show up. That's how you receive. You're open because you're in an open heart and you're giving. And
well, I love what you just said there with the open heart. And I've never thought of that. Thank you so much for giving me that. I've never really thought of it that way. That was her, the open heart. It was always just, how can I give? How can I help? And she had no expectations back, you know, and to me, that's the way I want to live.
Somebody does not create change. Like, that is not an empowering way to create change. So learning to let go, surrender, and not try and fix and manage and control them, and letting them create their own life empowered them to be able to make change. And the changes that they made, I 100%, they did that themselves. I gave them space, but they did it themselves.
That's something everybody really needs to understand, that creational power comes from her love frequency. It is the strongest frequency in the world, love. So when a woman heals, the world shifts around her. She is the one that has really like unbelievable amounts of magic, and the world will respond. What happens is, because women have been hurt, and like you had just described, we end up shutting our heart and we close it to the one thing that we really want, which is love.
Tease my stuttering and laugh at my stuttering. I mean, so you help the child make some decisions to advocate, because it's going to happen later too.
Right. And then have compassion. You know, you could teach that child a lesson instead of, oh, don't worry about, they're just your friends, or they're just stupid kids. You know, like, go through the exercise and talk about how that's pretty cruel. It's choice. And
That's
you know,
right.
you wouldn't do that to somebody. And so that was really, it hurts. You know?
Fungicide. Well, if that smell, bees are very sensitive with the pheromones, and we call it smell, but it's a different kind of thing. And if a bee goes to that flower afterwards, they're not going to be accepted back into any hive, because they're going to smell really funny, and they won't be allowed in by the guards, and they'll probably die. So there's some real dumb things we do that stop them from doing what they have to do.
I know nature can teach us so much. And if we just observe, we can say, hey, if the bees aren't accepting this, should we see the signs, right?
And the bumblebees,
one of the most magical moments of my entire life. Because again, I just felt high that, that my self-worth, my self-esteem, my self-confidence had been leveled up. And so my frequency, along with everybody else, is just vibrant. They're people, they're hugging, they're laughing, they're crying, they're talking intensely. I mean, they're communicating humanistically, unlike anything I've ever seen or witnessed in my life. And I've never seen anything like it.
When you walk into your workplace, if you're that person that reflects security, identity, independence, significance, innocence, you will climb the corporate ladder faster than you can snap your fingers. And so when we can see others in this way, when we can truly see ourselves in this way, it just revolutionizes our relationships in a good way.
Yeah. Mentally, physically, and emotionally. It's beautiful. We're all here for a reason. We all have this divinity, and you're in the right place no matter what. So just being here is a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
So whatever you can do to make yourself being here better, it's icing on the cake, like we're not guaranteed our life is completely fragile. So you breathing and listening to this is proof that you have a divinity to you, that you're a precious being. And that's part of the age of Aquarius, right? Is understanding your preciousness.
That's not even just woo-woo sentimental stuff. That's physics. You put it outside of your abilities, your touch, if you don't own it. It's literally outside because you put it outside your awareness. When you bring it in, go, okay, I own everything that's in this vessel. This is all mine to figure out. We get access to it. We get physical access to it. And we are allowed to then make choice and direct energy and create transformation and potential. So if we don't own it, we literally put it outside of our reach.
Like quantum physics is what you're referring to, is that the idea that you can make an effect at a quantum level, just with your thoughts, your attitude, your ownership. We have no idea how powerful we are. We get stuck.
Fear doesn't know how powerful we are,
Share with
right?
people that the more that we can be in our self-love, the more we can give our gifts to others. And self-love is not only okay, it is necessary. And I would say, yes, it is necessary, because then we can really live our full potential. And wow, how wonderful is it that we can really be in our power and raise our vibration and be happy with things, recognizing that if things are upsetting us, that's okay. It's a learning and invitation learning. You're going to feel the feelings and then let them go. And then be with it and look at what can we learn from this?
I love being in this space with you. So thanks for taking the time.
Julie, thank you. And thanks to your listeners. And I'm going to encourage them again to pick up your book. It sounds like we're promoting each other's books and nothing more, but this has magic and purpose and point. And I've read the messages from the angels, and I've gone into the appendix and I've searched it out. When I needed self-worth, I knew exactly where to go. And the beauty is there. It's so poignant. So thank you for the book. And also thank you for the Life of Love podcast. It takes energy, it takes finance, it takes time, it takes emotion to produce all the content that you are. And I'm so grateful.
The more we can share these messages of inspiration and love, the sooner we transform the world. And I believe that's happening. And I thank you for your contribution, and I love you.